Welcome to another team selection video ahead of game week 8. I'm not going to talk about my game week 7 performance this time because there were no games, and we have 7 games going ahead in game week 8 with 3 postponements. Those 6 teams will be blanking: Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Brighton and Leeds United. All of those teams will be blanking. We've covered this in the last few videos and streams, so be sure to check that out. And I'm going to be talking about some possibilities. I could be playing the wildcard this week or taking a -4 hit and delaying the wildcard until game week 9 or perhaps game week 12, between that period. So without further ado, let's get straight into this video and let's try to get this to over 300 likes. I got a small green arrow actually in game week 7 because I did nothing, absolutely nothing at all. I went from around 1.1 million to just under 1.1 million, so around 1,093,000. So not too shabby, you could say. At least it's a bit of progress made when nothing actually happened at all. I kind of trolled around a little bit, played Ward and captain him, but it doesn't really matter. Just want to show you kind of what I have right now, the issues I have heading into game week 8. Sanchez, Gross, James, Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold all blanking in this game week, so I'm actually down to 9 available players in my starting 11, and everyone else will be blanking in game week 8. So as you can see, there's a bit of work to do to get to 11 players. I just need to make 2 free transfers, which I have at my disposal, but I don't want to play Ward, who is my backup goalkeeper, against Tottenham, so I am looking to make a goalkeeper transfer as well, and that's where the -4 hit comes in. And I don't like these hits involving goalkeepers, but it does make sense in a blank game week when Robert Sanchez isn't playing at all and Nick Pope is having one of the best fixtures of the season in Bournemouth at home. So that's pretty much all you need to know about game week 7. Now let's talk about my game week 8 transfer plans. You probably guessed it by now. I am looking to get Nick Pope in for Robert Sanchez as part of one of 3 transfers, unless I play the wildcard and make further changes on top of that. But Bournemouth at home is a good fixture. I think they could cause problems for Newcastle, but I'm actually quite happy with this fixture, and a clean sheet is definitely quite likely, on paper at least. And even then, Nick Pope is averaging almost 5 saves per game, which is incredible, and that also helps him a lot in terms of the bonus point system. So despite the fact that Nick Pope and Trippier, that kind of double up, might not seem that great in terms of clean sheets over the next few fixtures, they also have different types of points on top of all of that. So the assist threat for Trippier, also you can score goals from free kicks, the bonus points for both Pope and Trippier, and the save. So there's a lot to like with these 2 Newcastle defenders, and I think over the next 5 or so, especially with Liverpool having tough fixtures, and you've also got a lack of options at the back, I think Nick Pope and Trippier help a lot in terms of filling those voids. I'm struggling in terms of the defender transfer this week, but I am considering a Spurs wing-back. Despite their 2-0 loss against Sporting Lisbon, they capitulated in the last few moments of that game. Otherwise, it would have been their customary clean sheet. They've been keeping quite a lot of those this season. Ivan Perisic is a very difficult one because normally I'd say, you know what, he started in midweek, he's not going to start at the weekend, but there is an international break just after that, and some kind of sources, such as Paul O'Keefe, who do very well in terms of predicting the Spurs lineup, he believes there's no reason to bench Perisic at the weekend, despite Sessegnon, having the capabilities of coming in and doing a decent job in Perisic's stead. So I wouldn't say it's clear-cut, and I'm not going to say that Perisic will definitely start the game, but it's more likely than not. If there's ever a time that he's going to start straight after Europe, it would be in game week 8. Let's see what happens there. Emerson Royal is maybe a more nailed-on option, but with his performance, which was disastrous against Sporting Lisbon, there's also the possibility of him being benched at this point as well. Then I look at other options like the West Ham fullbacks like Soufal and Emerson, and I'm not fully convinced by them. And you look at Emerson, well, Creswell's coming back from injury, and they could be rotating and sharing the minutes in the left-back spot. Then you look at Saliba, he's got a good fixture against Brentford, but I don't really expect a clean sheet there. And then he has some tough games from game week 9 to 12. So I don't think there's a clear-cut replacement for me. There's Luka Dean and Matty Cash, although Matty Cash is injured right now, and I don't really trust these Aston Villa defenders. I started the season with Matty Cash. It was a big regret of mine. I shouldn't have done it. I don't know why I did. So I think Perisic or Emerson is where my head's at in terms of a defender transfer this week, and even on a wild card. The alternative is to just downgrade this position, go for Patterson or Emerson, and they can always come in from time to time when they do get the minutes. And in Patterson's case, he is quite nailed on at the moment. And Everton have some good fixtures, but Pickford is injured right now, and that could actually severely dent Everton's chances of clean sheets. And they've only kept 1 this season, I believe. So Cancelo and Trippier speak for themselves. I'm very happy with them. On a free hit, I'd easily have these 2. And to be fair, Perisic is also in the conversation for the best free hit team, and there could also be a best free hit team video before the deadline, so be sure to check that out as well. I'm happy with the backline overall. Perisic is still a bit of a doubt, but I think if you had to ask me yes or no, is he going to start? I believe he will. Let's wait and see if that comes to fruition. On top of getting Nick Pope in for Sanchez and Perisic in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, I am considering De Bruyne in for Mohamed Salah, who scored against Ajax yesterday. I had him in UCL Fantasy as well, but I think De Bruyne could be a better premium option. Son is the alternative, but he looked absolutely woeful in his 72-minute performance against Sporting Lisbon, and he just seems anonymous. He's not really involved, and I don't know what's happening to Heung-min Son right now. I think he will pick up form unless there's a great fixture, but I'd much rather have Kevin De Bruyne and triple up on Manchester City with Cancelo and 2 attackers. I think that's the way to go right now. Bailey is at home to Southampton. That's a pretty good fixture, and I think it could be quite tight. You can't really call it. I think, both teams are struggling, but they're also capable of getting results from time to time, and I think Bailey is a decent asset around his price. The same goes for Andreas Pereira. I don't mind playing him, actually. Even on a wild card, I think I would start him this week with all the other blanks in mind for the Crystal Palace and Chelsea assets that I may have on the wild card. And Martinelli away to Brentford, that is a good fixture, and I think he's the best option at that price and below, especially in Game Week 8. The issue is, of course, as I mentioned before, the fixtures from Game Weeks 9 to 12, where Arsenal face the likes of Spurs, Liverpool and Manchester City, but all of them are at home, and Arsenal can get some results there, and players like Martinelli can definitely get some attacking returns. I believe Kevin De Bruyne is a good captaincy option for Game Week 8 and even in the weeks to come, but it's very hard to justify the captaincy for De Bruyne over the likes of Haaland right now, but it's still something worth considering, and I do like this structure a lot, and this team is looking fairly good for Game Week 8. Let me know your thoughts and maybe which players you have that are different to mine, but I'd actually be quite happy with this. So for a -4 hit, I'd actually be willing to take it, but then you can also look at the other side of the spectrum, and I can get to this team or something similar and improve on certain aspects and get rid of the deadwood, and I would also prevent taking the -4 hit. I'm going to play the wildcard eventually, between Game Weeks 9 to 12 most likely, so there is still the possibility lingering at the back of my head to play the wildcard, so that's something I'm going to reassess over the course of the next few days until the Friday deadline. Be sure to tune in for the deadline stream there. But this midfield is looking good. However, it may not be the same on the wildcard. The forward line wouldn't be too different, to be fair, even if I played the chip. Gabriel Jesus would be the only change, and to be honest, I don't mind keeping him for this Brentford fixture, but after that, I'd be very happy to sell him, despite the possibility of him getting returns. He's done very well over the years in the big games. Haaland speaks for himself. He's a great captaincy option every single week, it seems, and Mitrovic is away to Nottingham Forest, and I am backing Fulham in that game, especially from an offensive point of view, so if I had Nico Williams, I would still look to bench him, as I showed in the best wildcard team video, and Mitrovic actually is a great vice-captaincy option this week, and if it wasn't for Haaland, I probably would actually seriously consider him for the captaincy. So that's the forward line. I'm very happy with it. It's probably the strongest part of my team, and the team overall is looking pretty solid with only a -4 hit, and to be honest, if I just play Ward away to Tottenham, where he'll probably get minus points or struggle to get a point or two, that would be for no hits at all, and I'd have a full 11. So my team is looking in good shape. I know some people are struggling even more so with maybe only 5 players available in their starting 11 or 7, but I still would try to avoid playing the free hit, as I've talked about before, but everyone's team is different, and for some of you, it may be applicable to use the free hit. Haaland would be my captain, no surprises there, and Mitrovic would be my vice, although you could arguably go for De Bruyne, but I'm just going to kind of spread the risk a little bit, although most of these games, if not all of these 7, should be going ahead, of course. On the bench, I've got Ward, James, Cucurella and Gross. All of them are blanking this week, but I do have a full 11, and they should all play, so it is looking good on that front. But now let me show you the wildcard team, which is pretty much why I'm discussing the best wildcard team, but there's a few areas which I'm a bit unsure about, and I've also discussed this in that video as well. So let me know down in the comment section below whether you would go for this -4 hit and this team that you see on screen, or the wildcard team that I'm about to show you using FPL.team. The vast majority of this squad will be fairly locked in, so the likes of Nick Pope, Cancelo, Trippier, they're absolute certs to be in this team. Then you've got the likes of Nico Williams and James. I'm very happy with them, and they'd probably also be quite nailed on. Then you've got Andreas, De Bruyne, Martinelli. I think they're all kind of certs in the midfield. Bowen is a bit of a doubt, because you could also go for Maddison, who is my preference overall, but he is facing Tottenham in Game Week 8, so that's something I still need to debate between those two. The front three speaks for themselves. I could go for Isaac for Game Week 8 and then move to Tony in the weeks to come, but I don't want to book in transfers, and I think Tony is a better option, and Callum Wilson will also come into the equation at some point, and I don't think Isaac starts every single game or gets 90 minutes. The ones that you really want from these strikers like Tony and Mitrovic who offer you that and guarantee it throughout the whole season. So really we're looking at Bowen and Emerson Royale as the big doubts in this wildcard squad. I only have 0.1 million left in terms of money in the bank if I go for something like this, so I wouldn't be able to afford Perisic over Emerson, and I have a few doubts about the Brazilian starting right now, and let's say if he doesn't and he doesn't even come on for a one-pointer, I would have Nico Williams come in, and he is facing Fulham, and of course that's a really big conflict of interest with double Fulham attack versus Nico Williams, so that wouldn't be ideal at all, but this would be very, very similar to my final wildcard squad. I could even go for Emerson, the Brazilian from West Ham, instead of Emerson Royale, and I could also go for Soufal. Maybe a few others will also be under consideration, like Saliba, but I'm not a big fan of most of these defenders right now, and once Liverpool's fixtures do turn for the better, I will be looking to get the likes of Salah and Trent back in, especially if they show some form, but I'm happy to go without them for the time being, with those fixtures coming up, and Liverpool still aren't quite at it, although they showed an improvement in their 2-1 victory against Ajax, with Thiago coming back and making a real impact. And the same goes for Matip, who scored that late winner. So that's where my head is at, either a -4 hit or going for this wildcard team. Let me know your preference down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and we're very close to 15,000 subscribers. We've already made huge progress, and we only hit 14,000 subscribers the other day. So thank you very much for all your support and all the new channel members we got during the UCL Fantasy Deadline stream. It's much appreciated. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and you can also check the links in the description below for the Discord server and the FPL League, so be sure to check all of that out. I wish you all the best of luck for Game Week 8 and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.